Hi, I'm Pastor Eunbee, and I am so glad you're here. I serve as the senior pastor at Madison Square Presbyterian Church, which is a historic church with a progressive spirit. I was born in South Korea to Presbyterian missionary parents, and I've been shaped by a life lived between cultures, from living in the Philippines to Mexico, Honduras, South Africa, Brazil, and beyond. I'm a pastor who's passionate about creating space for people to heal from religious harm and reconnect with what is life-giving and liberating in faith and spirituality. Today, I'll be answering some questions about faith and religion, questions that many of us hold but don't always have a space to explore. And I want to acknowledge that I'm speaking from my own perspective, limited by or shaped by my personal experiences, studies in theology and pastoral counseling, and my deep love for this community. Whether you've been part of church your whole life or you're just starting to explore what faith might mean for you, I hope this space feels honest, open, and welcoming. How should we engage with people of other faiths while staying true to our own beliefs? With humility, curiosity, and respect. Scripture gives us glimpses of holy encounters across faith lines. The Magi who follow their stars to honor Jesus, the Canaanite woman who challenges Jesus and changes his mind, and the Samaritan who becomes a neighbor by showing mercy. These are not just stories of difference, but of mutual recognition, surprising grace, and the possibility that God's Spirit moves in unfamiliar places. We won't agree on everything, and that is okay. When we encounter teachings or practices that feel oppressive or painful, we can name those tensions with honesty and compassion, recognizing that every tradition, including our own, carries both wisdom and harm. Respect does not require agreement, but it does require humility. To name what feels untrue while remaining open to complexity and the gifts or the dignity of another path. How is the Presbyterian Church different from other Christian denominations? Presbyterian churches are all over the map in theology, worship style, and community culture. Some lean formal with robes and choirs. Others meet in shorts and flip-flops. Across the country, new worshiping communities are reimagining church entirely. In coffee shops, art studios, yoga studios, hiking trails, and multilingual gatherings rooted in justice and joy. That diversity is part of our strength. But no matter what it looks like on Sunday morning, we share a unique way of making decisions. We're led by elders and pastors who discern together where their spirit is leading. No one person should hold all the power. We're connected to other churches through presbyteries, synods, the General Assembly, so decisions are shared. That's called connectionalism, and it helps us stay accountable, supported, and spirit-led. We also deeply value scripture and education. The Bible is a complex collection of texts, poetry, history, law, letters, parables, written across centuries by many voices. Presbyterians believe it's central to our faith, not as a rule book, but as a living witness to God's love and justice. We recognize it has also been used to harm, so we read the Bible with care, context, and community, holding its beauty and brokenness, seeking the Spirit's voice. How would you characterize Presbyterians? I certainly cannot speak for all Presbyterians, but we may be known to be thoughtful, curious, and cautiously enthusiastic. Sometimes we are called the frozen chosen, although I'm a dancer and I deny that claim. We believe in grace, education, and committees. So many committees. How many Presbyterians does it take to change a light bulb? 10. 1 to change it, and 9 to form a committee to discuss, vote, and write a statement about why the change was necessary. What does it mean for Presbyterians to come from a Reformed tradition? That means we believe God is still at work, and so we're always paying attention. There's a saying, reformed, and always to be reformed. It's a phrase we remember. And we take scripture seriously, read it in community, and stay open to the Spirit's movement through new voices, new questions. We honor the tradition we've inherited, but try not to let it fossilize. Our shared leadership, connectional structure, and openness to change, that is all part of living into a faith that listens, evolves, and discerns the Spirit's movement. I don't think we always practice it perfectly, but this is our intention. How should we approach and interpret the Bible in a way that is both faithful and thoughtful? The Bible is a complex collection of texts, poetry, history, law, letters, and parables, written across centuries by many voices. Presbyterians read it with reverence and wrestling. At Madison Square, I encourage the congregation to always ask hard questions, to look for who is centered and who is missing in the text. And we trust that the Spirit still speaks in scripture and silence, in protest chants and poetry, in kitchen tables and borderlands, in laughter, lament, and longing. The Spirit isn't confined to stained glass windows or pulpits. She moves where she will. What does baptism signify, and how do different traditions practice it? I can only speak for the PCUSA tradition. Baptism for us means belonging before you've done anything to earn it. In the PCUSA, we baptize babies, children, and adults. Other traditions wait until a person understands and chooses it. Either way, baptism is a sign of God's grace. It's visible and tangible, reminding you that you are loved unconditionally, that you are enough, and that you are not alone, that you walk this faith journey together with a community that will stand by you. How can faith communities be more inclusive and affirming of LGBTQ+ individuals? One of the things that Madison Square did was to change its policy early on to welcome and ordain LGBTQIA+ members and leaders before our denomination officially became inclusive and affirming. We did this by listening to our LGBTQIA+ members who came out and advocating for change. Some of the best inclusive practices might be creating clear inclusion statements, electing and empowering LGBTQI+ leaders, staff, offering LGBTQI+ centered education, and committing to policy changes that reflect our values. We support LGBTQI+ advocacy organizations and celebrate and center the theological, musical, spiritual contributions of queer people in our worship, in our preaching and leadership. So we show up at Pride. We listen deeply, and we keep trying to learn how to love this community better. How can I strengthen my faith when I feel distant from God? This is a great question. I would say start where you are. Say what's true. Faith isn't a constant, it's a rhythm, like waves. When belief feels hard, let someone else carry it for you. That's what it means to be in community. You show up anyway. God is not waiting on the other side of doubt. God is with you in it. Is it okay to question my faith? Of course. It's not only okay, it's necessary. Questions are holy ground. In the scriptures, Jacob wrestled with faith. Jesus wept. The Canaanite woman wasn't satisfied with Jesus' answers and asked questions. Doubt isn't the opposite of faith. It is an integral part of the journey. And I think God can absolutely handle our questions. How do I share my faith with others? I would say, live it. Let your values and actions speak louder than your volume. Listen well, love well. Share your story not to change others, but to live in truth and loving relationship with others. Faith shared through relationship isn't about control. It's about mutual transformation, and that isn't something we can control or force. It is a gift. No matter where you are on your faith journey, full of questions, carrying wounds, holding wonder, or somewhere in between, you are welcome here. Thank you so much for watching.